Big bad TSN employee, Farhan Lalji. Talk about the bad rap you guys have been getting all week, hey, sir?
Yeah, I guess so. I mean, like you're not allowed to actually believe in something. If you believe in it, it's just so ridiculous that there's got to be an agenda behind it. And it's been one of those things. The hardcores are now all over TSN because the majority of our analysts are in support of the rule changes. Now, look, I haven't spoken to Suter about it yet, and I don't know if you've had him on since the changes. And I would imagine, just knowing Glenn the way that I do, that he's probably not happy. But the rest of us kind of are looking at the changes as changes. Everybody wants to view these things philosophically, and I'm trying to really avoid that. I'm just trying to look at the changes and see what the net effect is going to be on the game, and react accordingly. But certainly that's on a lot of dartboards. And what are you going to do, right? It's that you have that platform, and those are the choices you make.
You're not moving, like you're not out of your house. Things are so bad. You're on the run or anything, are you? No. And Glenn was actually somewhat supportive of everything. And again, he wants to see it. We've talked to him a couple times. Before I go to Greg here, I got to ask you, where did, because I know you're close with him, where did Nathan Rourke's maybe jump the gun, I felt, comments land with you?
Well, look, I like Nathan a lot, and not just as a player, but as a person. I've known him for a long time, and I feel this way about a lot of the quarterbacks around the league. And I appreciate Nathan's love for this league and love for the game, because it's different since he's come back from the NFL, right? I mean, he had 2 really negative years in terms of his experience down there, just in terms of the business and the politics and all of it. And then when he came back, he was just so he embraced back, and he's got an appreciation for this game and this league that he didn't have prior to when he left. So I love that part of it. And I think the league needs somebody like Nathan to wear the flag and to champion it. In 2021 and 2, he wasn't necessarily comfortable doing that. So I think it's great. But he's trying to take a different philosophical approach than I am, right? Whereas I'm just looking at it play by play. So he finds this game a lot more enjoyable. Every person that's played in both games, go talk to Alex Singleton. He will tell you he had a blast playing in the Canadian Football League. But at the end of the day, money talks. So here I appreciate that Nathan kind of had a bit of an emotional reaction. And early on, you go in and you talk to Sean White, and Sean White's aghast because he's a kicker. And then, there's a lot of people in the Lions room that Nathan believes support his opinion, or he's supporting, their feelings. But I just think a lot of these guys have kind of said, okay, well, Nathan's pretty upset. I'm just going to support my leader, my quarterback, to ride with 12. So I think there's a bit of that that's going on, and I just don't think his opinion is a widespread one around the league between Canadians and Americans. And here's the other thing. If you're Nathan, don't tell me that because you're Canadian you care more. Because Bo Levi Mitchell's been here 12, 14 years, right? He cares as much as anybody. He's invested as much as anybody. So a long-time American player that's been in this league, I think, has just as much credibility on this issue as a Canadian does.
The Sean White, when he came out with that, I felt like it was very Dumb and Dumber. We have no food. We have no jobs. Our pets' heads are falling off. I'm like, settle down.
Well, we're going to need kickers, aren't we?
Well, you think so.
You're going to need really good kickers.
Well, and that's the thing. I'm sure there's a little bit of concern on the part of the kickers because, distance is going to matter more, right? As opposed to right now, you get a lot of CFL kickers that kind of accuracy is a skill where they get to prioritize accuracy. And someone like Sean is later in his career, and he's one of the most accurate kickers in the league still. Does he have the distance he did before? Probably not. There may be some kickers that are feeling that way. But the bottom line for me is if you're kicking consistently at 60, you're in the NFL anyway, right? Like 60 yards, not 60 years old. So, I get it. There's some concern, but I think these changes are going to be net positive, right? We see less than 2 missed field goals per year returned for touchdowns. I think it's going to be net positive.
Kicking at 60, I thought we were going to talk about Louis Pasaglia coming out of retirement or something. But Nathan and Mike O'Shea, their major complaints were they were blindsided by this. They say they're stakeholders in this game. I understand this was a tight-knit thing and the CFL is going to do what they're going to do, but should there have been an olive branch or a meeting of some sort before this got dropped so that everyone was on the same marching orders? Or
Yeah, Greg, it's a fair question, right? Just in terms of how this played out on the PR side. But in terms of in terms of coaches and players being in the process, I have my questions about that. And I say that because they're not the best people to talk to in terms of entertainment for this game. Like, they can tell you how to successfully execute a play and how to successfully play in this game, but they're not necessarily the people to decide what's the most entertaining part of the product. And, I made the point on my social media rant yesterday that the league went through this a year ago. Like in the offseason, Rules Committee had a proposal before them from the league. The league was really fearful of potentially a Grey Cup being decided on a missed field goal, right? And you get that Liram Haralahu moment, from Toronto last year, where he's got his hands up in the air celebrating a missed field goal to win a game. They don't want the optics of that. Like, you should not want to be a punchline, right? Like, you should take away any option someone has to make you a punchline. You got to get rid of that. So they tried to get them to pass it where they would just eliminate the rouge on missed field goals that couldn't be returned in playoff games in overtime. That's it, right? Like, not at any point in the regular season, not at any point during the body of a game, just playoff games, overtime. And they couldn't get that through Rules Committee. So when you go through that process, why would you want to involve the coaches? They're not going to get you anywhere here, right? Like, the coaches are great at what they do, but what they do is not entertain people. That's not their mandate.
and I 100% agree with you on that one. And the fact that they couldn't get the rouge, that even most ardent fans were going, can we get rid of the free point on failure? Like, that would have been an easy go. But I guess my follow-up, you would think. But my question is, do you think PR-wise it would have been smarter for them to go, this is what we're doing, let's all get on the same page, and not even a discussion about it, at least come out as a unified front? Would that have probably quelled some fans' panic?
Yeah, potentially. But I mean, you could get into the same meeting and Mike O'Shea could have the same reaction, right? So look, obviously hindsight is what it is, right? I mean, you can go back and say we could have done this differently. Did we need to do it now? Could we have announced it at Grey Cup? There's a lot of parts of the process, but I think that coaches and players wanted input, more so than when they were communicated to. You know what I mean? Like, I think they would have been upset whether they found out 48 hours or 24 hours before the announcement came out, as opposed to, I think they actually wanted meaningful input because that's what they're used to, especially the coaches. So, and overall, talking to a number of these guys, they're not offended by it. Like, I've talked to some coordinators in this league that think it's fantastic. I talked to a defensive coordinator. You think, wow, they've just made rules even harder for defense. And he's like, no, this is great. Let's go, right? So I just don't think the negative reaction has been widespread in the buildings. Certainly it has amongst the hardcore fans.
The answer to this question might be exactly the same, but if you were helping amateur football and moving forward, what would you vote on, or what would you say? And then what do you think they will do?
Here's what I would do. If I was Stu Johnson, I would find a way to help facilitate getting U Sports games on national television. I would make 3 CFL games, or I would make the Vanier Cup and the 2 national semifinals part of the CFL package. And when you sell it to TSN here, we're doing these 3 collegiate games as well. Or find some way, whether it's that mechanic or not, put those games on national television. Have the CFL involved. Let's get the CFL involved in promoting U Sports. Let's get CFL social media team, because they've got a pretty good footprint, to get out to U Sports homecoming games and big time rivalry games and games where U Sports looks its best. And go to U Sports and say, look, let's align. Let's build the brand together. We're going to help you get on television. We're going to help you promote your product, and you're going to change your rules to what we're doing, right? And we can do this together. We can all come out win-win. There's a way to navigate this. So if I was advising them, I think that would be the next step. Just get aligned with U Sports, and then from that you can work your way down into amateur football. I don't know how many turf fields there are in Regina or in Saskatchewan. You know, my buddy
I can
Len
count him. I
Antonini's
can
done a
count him
great
on
job
this
with-
hand. I can count him on this hand,
Okay.
Farhan.
So where's all the angst coming from, right? Like, okay, if there needs to be some support to build new sleeves and potentially paint some lines on those fields,
Yeah.
I would bet the riders would help. I would bet the riders would help. So, you know, like most of these fields are played on grass where the goalposts come up and down every Christmas anyway, right? Like they take them out when the snow comes out. So it shouldn't be this level of angst where this is going to destroy amateur football and it's going to cause all these problems. I just don't get it. Like if they choose not to do it, that's fine. I don't think anybody in amateur football should be forced to change these rules. But I'm having a difficult time believing how these things are deal breakers.
The America Light and the Big Bad Americans and all that. But I think it was you that made some points, and I was making this earlier in the week. The Americans, the NFL has looked at other leagues to improving their league as well, and some of the things they've looked at is stuff that we're doing up here.
Video replay came from the CFL.
Us hosers up here.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, and the leagues they work together and collaborate on other things like officiating, and you know we've seen a lot of it. The 2-point convert was here. It eventually moved down there. The NFL within a couple of years is going to get to 18 games. Oh, guess which league's playing with 18 games? Right here, the Canadian Football League. And nobody looks at that and says they're Canadianizing. And in the U.S., it's like the fact that they can borrow from other things, like they view that as a positive. Their fans view that as a positive. This is the most successful sports league in the world. When you look at franchise valuations, you know, it's not like some of these European soccer leagues where there's some elite clubs and everybody else is in the basement, right? Like this is a wildly profitable league, and yet they're constantly looking to improve their product. And you know, the big thing for them now, a dozen years ago was concussions. Now it's, we got to shorten the games, right? And if they can look at ways to do that, then they're going to do that. And it's just what the market demands. So I just don't think that we should all be looking at this and saying we're Americanizing. There's only so many things you can do to improve the product, because it's still tackle football. It's still played, you know, on a field that can only go so far with stadium sizes and all these things. So we should be borrowing from each other. And while I don't believe the goal of the game is to make it the NFL, or the goal of the decision makers here, Stu Johnson and others, to make it the NFL, if the game becomes a little more relatable to NFL fans, nothing wrong with that.
I think we've beaten this dead horse a little too much. Can we look ahead to the games this weekend?
Let's do it.
Riders in Edmonton. Edmonton is a desperate team. They got a little emotional going behind them with the passing of their owner. Are the Riders in trouble this week, or what do you think?
5.5.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, I think the Riders are better. I'm picking the Riders to win this game. The spread's big. I might have got it at 4.5. I'd have to go back and double check, but nonetheless, you know, I think Edmonton's kind of their last chance. There you go. I think the Lions, I think the Elks last week might have shot their final shot, right? Like, it's going to be really difficult for Edmonton and Ottawa to get back into this at this stage, given the number of teams that are kind of in that mix, right? So I look at Saskatchewan. They're getting Emelis back. They're getting Sean Bain back. They're getting healthier. And this team, I think they've had their ebbs. I think they're just going to, right now, I expect the Riders to ascend and win their games until the playoffs. I don't think they're going to lose a game again unless they decide to rest Trevor Harris and a bunch of other starters, you know, which could happen in the final week of the year. They're going to win football games. This team is going to start peaking again and playing its best football. I have no doubt about that. I think Edmonton kind of went on their run. Might they have a bit of an emotional lift because of Larry Thompson? They might. But Larry Thompson hasn't been the owner of the Elks for a long time, right? It's been new. He's great. I don't know whether or not he's kind of made his imprint on the players quite yet, like say an Amar Doman might have done in Vancouver, you know, over the course of 4 years. So I don't want to minimize that. It's a tragic situation, but I don't know that alone is going to rally this team to victory. I just think Saskatchewan's better.
Okay, last one. Are you? Is it justified that people are selling Calgary stock and buying all this BC stock?
Yeah, I'd be nervous if I was a Calgary fan right now, for sure, right? I mean, you've seen kind of 3 ordinary performances from Vernon Adams in that offense. Teams are taking away the deep ball, and he's got to show that he can be patient and play underneath, which he did at various times with the Lions. I think that's there, but I think you want to see that. And then defensively, I'd be concerned too, because, you know, they got Jalen Hutchings back this week. So when they lost the second game against Edmonton, that was kind of the mulligan. Well, you know, they got this guy back again, and it hasn't changed their fortunes. they struggled last week. So this is the first time this season they're going through it, and it's the wrong time of year to be going through it. So and BC offensively is just playing out of its mind right now, right? I mean, even without James Butler last week and without their best offensive lineman last week, they still put up a big number and did some great things. So now remember what Toronto did to them the last time. So let's see what BC's defense looks like. Otherwise, they're just going to have to outscore their mistakes.
Okay, I lied one more. I'm going to ask the same question I asked Glenn the other day. Did you sign an NDA on any of this?
No.
Okay.
But I did find out about it before it came out.
Yeah, that's fine. And that's you should. Right? All right. Okay. Have a good one. I still think you're okay, you TSN employees. I'm okay with some change.
Thanks, buddy.
From time to time. See you, Farhan. Have a good weekend.
Have a great weekend.